More now on the race for the Democratic presidential nomination. Let's bring in our political panel. Daniel Halper, the online editor of Weekly Standard and the author of Clinton Inc., The Audacious Rebuilding of a Political Machine. And Shira Schoenberg, the political editor of the Boston Globe. You just saw the numbers. Sanders ahead of Clinton by 9 points in New Hampshire. In July, Clinton was beating Sanders by 10. And meanwhile, in Iowa, Clinton's lead over Sanders has fallen from 24 points in July to just 11 points now. Biden has the support of 20% of Iowa caucus goers. He's at 16% in New Hampshire. And by the way, Hillary loses to Jeb Bush in both of these states. So, Shira, is her campaign in trouble?
Her campaign has definitely had a rough summer. This is not the summer they had hoped for or wanted. They've had to deal with the email scandal. And the thing is, it's only going to get more trying for them in the next couple months. In October, you have the Benghazi hearing. You have the first debate. We'll have more emails released by the State Department if they're on schedule. So it's only going to get more difficult for them. I mean, really, the only hope they have right now to continue through the primary is that maybe Sanders falters, right? Sanders has not been in the critical limelight completely yet, and so his candidacy could take a turn, in which case Clinton could probably rise again.
Dan, the New York Times says that Hillary's campaign has calculated that she can afford to lose New Hampshire and Iowa. What do you make of this whole Southern firewall theory?
I think that's huge. I mean, I think it's a seismic shift in the campaign. A couple weeks ago, Hillary Clinton's campaign was just putting millions of dollars into Iowa and New Hampshire, trying to raise her poll numbers. This new revelation about that, well, don't worry, they've got a southern firewall. They can win South Carolina and Florida and the southern states, and that will prevent Hillary Clinton from losing this campaign. I think that shows that she's on very bad footing, that she's caught by surprise by this by these new swing of polls. And that, she's got huge problems ahead, and that's from a sign of weakness that she's doing this, not from a place of strength. And, it's not that that she can't overcome it, but it would be very difficult from going here forward.
Shira, regarding this email scandal, she hasn't, she's finally stopped making jokes about it. Instead, now she's saying it wasn't the best choice, but she's still not apologizing. The final batch of emails isn't going to be released until January, so the story is going to linger. Does she need to go further?
She could go further. I mean, she has announced that her campaign has announced that she's going to be doing more media interviews. And I think in many of these one-on-one exchanges, you might see her go further and express a little more contrition for the way she handled her emails at the Department of State. But I think truly at the time, she said it. She didn't think twice about setting up this email system. And it's become this massive headache for her campaign and her presidential aspirations.
Okay, so Dan, next month she's going to testify before the House Select Committee on Benghazi, and an MSNBC article is saying that her aides are hoping that Republicans are going to attack her too hard and give her the chance to say this is a partisan witch hunt. And, there really are a lot of Clinton supporters who don't seem familiar with the details of Benghazi, who do perceive this as just something the Republicans are trying to make a big deal out of. Why isn't this story being taken more seriously?
Well, the Clinton aides have been thinking this for the last 6 months, that the Republicans would go too far, they'd overplay their hands, and that would benefit Hillary Clinton. That theory of the race has never come to fruition so far. I think behind the scenes they are taking it seriously. They are very scared about it. I think this is a way of showing that they're very confident that their candidate has done the right thing, has not done nothing wrong. I don't think it's truthful in them saying that this is their strategy and they hope it's true. I think they're slightly petrified about what might come about. Already we've learned about these emails from the Benghazi committee and this whole slew of other scandals that have emerged. It's no longer just about Benghazi and about what she did or didn't do to prevent the terror attack in Benghazi and the cover-up later on. It's become a much, much larger issue. And I don't think it's in her hand, I don't think she has any control over it. I think showing signs of contrition only show that she had bad judgment. I think that's very problematic for her all the way around.
All right. Shira, her campaign is going to try to shift gears here. They say that she's going to focus this month on women's issues. Does Carly Fiorina complicate that strategy?
Not completely, I think. Carly Fiorina is likely going to make it into the debate, so she'll have another platform by which she can talk about this. I don't think it complicates Hillary's strategy too much. Remember, this is a strategy that actually worked for Hillary Clinton in the past. She didn't emphasize her gender as much in her 2008 race, and this time around she is, and where that worked for her was New Hampshire. So when she goes back and she's trying to regain the lead in the polls ahead of the primary in New Hampshire, I think working and appealing to female voters, especially 40-plus female voters, is a good strategy for Hillary Clinton because it's worked before.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Shira Center, Daniel Halper, thank you both for joining us on this Labor Day.